For more on Maponya's passing, I'm joined in studio by businessman and founder of the People's Dialogue, Herman Mashaba. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News.
Thank you very much for this invitation, and Happy New Year to the listeners. Sad day for South Africa. We've lost one of our icons, someone who's actually inspired some of us to be who we are today.
You've spoken about how at 22 years old you were inspired to start your own business because of watching people like him.
Absolutely. I grew up in an environment where, as I was growing up in Amanskral, in a village, lots of family in Soweto, going Soweto in our village, shops, butcheries, supermarkets will be run by our own people, including the Maponyas, and we grew up and personally grew up with the sense that these are the people one day I would really like to be like. I don't want to really be an ordinary person. So Maponya, as much as he's 40 years my senior, played a very, very crucial role in actually helping to shape up my thinking around what I wanted for Herman Mashaba.
It's very difficult to succeed in business generally, more so if you're working like he was in an anti-black system of apartheid. You've spoken about the difference between succeeding then and what you perceive now as the kind of mindset that people have that's leading to perhaps less entrepreneurial thinking.
Well, I think if I look at Dr. Maponya's success in business, it didn't happen by luck. It happened because the man believed in hard work. I think I was listening earlier on this morning, one of his recent interviews, where he's actually making it clear that his retirement will only happen the day when God decides to take him. I mean, that is really what determines one's success. He's a man who actually believed in very strong family, stable family environment. As we grew up, we didn't just really know about Richard. We knew about Richard and Marina Maponya. It was a family unit that created this empire that the family is enjoying today. He's the man who actually never feared failure. Because, as an entrepreneur, you cannot fear failure. You've got to look at what is possible. And I think Dr. Maponya was one such individual. He's the man actually who believed in the education of our people. I remember my encounter with him a few years ago. He invited me to his house to share with me his desire to set up a technical college to empower people to become technicians, for getting experience from Brazil, putting his own money towards this. And I think if you look at all these four the components I've just really characterized, you look at successful people all over the world. Hard work, be it strong family bonds, the belief in education, not fearing failure, because a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't go into business because they fear to fail. They allow other people to always give them the negativity. And I think Dr. Maponya was really a trailblazer who really inspired us, and that's why at the age of 22 I had nothing to lose. The apartheid government at the time was P.W. Botha in 1982. When I decided P.W. Botha is not going to determine my destiny, I'm going to take care of my own future. And that's what I tried back in 1982. And fortunate enough, I was, by my standards, highly successful. And I give credit to the Maponyas, Motsunyanis, and the Walter Dubes of this world, who've really inspired us as black youth growing up under the vicious system of apartheid.
So we were speaking off air about how people now buy from perhaps bigger shops. There are not as many family-run businesses in different areas where people can see, in particular, black entrepreneurs like the Maponyas that you were speaking about growing up. What's the issue if we are now in a democracy 25 years in with a government that is representative of the majority black population?
You know, what is actually quite sad for me, on the 27th of April 1994, when I went to vote, one issue that I was excited about was to see the explosion of black entrepreneurs. Looking at the journey we traveled during the dark days of our country's history, when we had the government against us. So I thought, with now a new democratic government that is going to create a space for us to flourish. Unfortunately, 25 years down the line are going to our communities, be in Soweto or in Amanskral or anywhere else. Unfortunately, businesses are run as small as any small business, run by everybody else except South Africans. And I'm saying to myself, what the hell happened here? Something really went drastically wrong, where we are allowing young kids in the townships and our areas growing up to think that as South Africans, particularly black South Africans, we are just mere consumers, we are just really mere recipients of government grants. We are not the type of people that can create wealth for ourselves. And I think which is very unfortunate, because if we continue at this trajectory, you can imagine kids growing up in this environment where the only survival that they see is getting government grants. When they go into the shop, their grandmother or their mother or their parents send them to go and buy bread or milk. They go and buy bread from someone who they don't know where this person comes from and how this person came into our country. This is really very unfortunate, that we must accept the consequences of high unemployment, economic stagnation, because we see more and more billions of goods brought into this country, counterfeit goods, brought into this country, where our fiscus is losing out on the money that can be used for development and create the future for these kids that I've just mentioned.
We'd like to carry on this conversation. We have run out of time though. My colleague Nompumelelo Siziba is standing by. Nompumelelo, it's over to you.